technical.
Yeah, we back, guys. We back.
Yeah.
So transactional. What's going on?
Transactional relationships. I was asking if you think. I heard somebody say it was some like red pill conversation.
Oh God.
They were like, "Do you think that?" They said relationships. Oh no, marriage is a business, is what they said.
It can be.
Yeah,
but
true.
it shouldn't be though. Like, what is that?
I think marriage is more like duty behind it, and like with the duty,
it can be
builds a business.
It can be a business. I mean, it can be, but it's more. It's not business in the aspect of it being trans. I mean, I don't know what the fuck they talking about, but it's not business in the sense of it being transactional. It's business in the sense of each role within the business. If you get what I'm saying, that's
why are we using business?
Because you may have an HR person. What does an HR do?
What? Why you have that
HR?
In a relationship?
Not having an HR person. I'm saying like there's certain roles in business that you have to do. Like there's accounting, there's HR, there's all different aspects of business that you can somewhat contribute into the relationship. So you may be the salesperson. What do? Right? You become attractive, right? They're kind of digging into the product, which is which is you, right? You're promoting yourself. Then you also have HR, right? To where if they want to leave the relationship or the policies, whatever like that of the relationship, that's what you do too. Maybe I'm being too technical, but in that sense, there's a lot of different roles you have in that relationship.
I think I really just think business is the worst word to use to describe a relationship,
right?
Or a marriage, because don't people tell you not to go into business with your friends? So it's like, why would you say my marriage?
Look at RDC; they're all friends and they're doing good.
Yeah, I feel like there are exceptions, but that's right. A different relationship. Those are friends, right? And I know what I just said, but I'm going into like marriage, like a friendship and marriage. That's two different relationships. So for you, I think that what my issue with that is like it takes the love out of it, and it makes it just sounds transactional. Like I got to do this, so this person does this. And, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but at the same time, though, is that so with that, mind you, I'm not in the marriage, so I wouldn't know. But with that, it's in the aspect of, in a marriage, to my honest opinion, it's more of that aspect of you, like say if like you're doing work or anything like that, or you're like digging into things, or just, there's a lot of like, taxes, your marriage, you got to label yourself as married, right? Or the fact of you having businesses, your wife is somewhat tied to your business.
But how does that relate to the foundation, the core of marriage, like a relationship?
Because back then, that was marriage was a transaction at the time. The reason why some people may apply that is because there were two kingdoms, they were warring with each other, right? And he said, hey, if your king or if your prince marries my daughter, we have a truce, right? They used to do that back at that time. So that's why, in some sense, a marriage can be in a sense of like a business type of thing. And, people got different reasons on marriage. But, when they have a business perspective, I wouldn't say that they're entirely wrong. I've heard that from time to time.
I think I would just, for me, I'd never say, oh, my wife is my business partner. This is my business partner. This is my wife.
But but if you have an apartment, like, right, and you living with your girl,
she's still my wife though.
Yeah, she is. But
but I'm not looking at her like, oh, this is my business partner. This is. I feel like that's just the role of a wife.
I see what you're saying.
You gonna support me, I'm gonna support you.
Right.
So like, I'm not looking at you like you're specifically this, like you're my wife.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It just sounds weird to me.
You're looking at the love aspect of it, like the pure.
But it's not just. I think people look at love. Oh, this is just romantic love. Nah, there's duty in love. Like there's multiple layers of love. It's not just. I think in America, it's just a lot of. It's just romanticized. Like love
very
is
romanticized.
It's just very sexual and physical and like physical intimacy. That's love. It's like, bro, that ain't love, bro. Like that's a part of love, but that's not love in its entirety. Love is like being kind to someone who might have disrespected you or hurt you.
Which
like
is tough.
That's love tough. Though. So that's why you see all these. What's the divorce rate? Like 50% or higher than 50% in America?
Like 50% of divorce. Oh wait, no, 50% of marriages end in divorce
in America.
In America.
And it's because of money. It's because of money. So
I think that is a big. It's a big contributing factor, but I also do think is people don't know what love is, and I think they get married for the wrong reasons.
Right.
Like we get married for the vibes. What?
Right.
Like
right. And it's a moment to moment thing. It's a moment to moment thing. That's why in some cases you might have to treat it like a business, because in a sense of, and that may not be only for marriage, but that could be as well as for a family, right? That in a sense that could be kind of used as a business. It's a perspective, but it's not a right and wrong perspective. If you get what I'm saying, it's definitely not, because you're getting to things together. Like you're, like I said, adulting, that comes with a price, right? Yeah. Having a kid and things like that comes with a price. You know how much a kid is? That's a meal, over a meal. And that's for one. You see what I'm saying? So it's just, yes, you should be there because that's your wife, but they're more than your business partner at that. You are doing business with her either way. You see what I'm saying? But in the sense of it not being, in the sense of it being transactional, they're not a customer to a seller. It's a business partner and a business partner. That's what that is.
I think my problem with, this is probably the last thing I'll say on it.
Like, yeah, I got you.
I think a lot of times people have these podcasts and they'll try to have these in-depth conversations in 2 minutes. And it's like, you can't do that. Like certain stuff you got to sit with and discuss. Right. Like a lot of people try to make things seem like they're just black and white. And certain things in life are black and white, but there's also a lot of gray area in life. And you got to be able to get in there and like have discussion.
Right. You got to have those discussions, so. But do you view like transactions as like, what do you view a transaction? Like, what do you view that as?
Basically, I would look at it as I'm doing something for you and expecting you to do something for me because of what I did for you.
Exactly.
Solely because of that. Solely, I did this for you, so you like transactional relationships, like friendships, like let's say someone does something for you, and then there's a time where they're expecting you to do something for them or something. They're like, well, you should do this for you because I did this for you. It just seemed very transactional. It seems like your heart is in like not the right place when it comes to y'all's like relationship.
Right, because without this person doing this for you, y'all wouldn't even have exist. That friendship wouldn't even have exist. So I definitely do understand that as well. I think the reason why friends are a little bit different is because you're not sleeping with them in the same bed every night. You can cut them off like this. You see what I'm saying? As for a relationship,
yes, it depends on the friendship.
Right. It depends too.
Especially, I feel like for women, I feel like their relationships are. Okay, do I want to say that? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Just when I have some like female friends I'm around, and like the relationships they have with their friends, I feel like a female and female dynamic is different from a male dynamic in terms of relationships. Absolutely. So I feel like the way that they might lose a friend, it's much more. In certain cases, it can be much more traumatic for them. I'm not saying it can't be that for men, because we just spent a long time talking about how we lost some friends over some like certain situations.
I think we deal with that a lot early. I think we deal with that reality a lot early. You see what I'm saying? And so it's just like, men, in a way, we like to be left alone. We have our own little world, and we want to be chilling. Yeah. As for, girls, it's just a little bit different, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Even how we process those things can be completely different. Mm-hmm. So I was going to say as well,
one more thing. Do you guys think that like love is conditional? Like, is there such things as like unconditional, excluding your parents and like, I guess, pets?
Ooh, that's a good question. Oh my God. That's a good question.
I think real love should be unconditional.
Honestly, I don't think there's such thing as unconditional love. I don't think so.
I don't think so in like relationships. No.
Anything. I don't think so.
I mean, doesn't like
if you
don't think
human interaction.
Unconditional love for you?
If I wasn't their son, they wouldn't have that type of love for me.
But I mean, that's different.
That's a condition.
If I didn't know you, then like I have zero feelings for you.
That sounds crazy.
He cold. Not a joker. But
cold, man.
But I mean,
I would say faith wise for me, like there's like God has unconditional love But in terms of like the way humans interact with each other and the way we love each other, I think our love can be very conditional. Like you have to do
even with Job. Like, I mean, I'm a little bit different with that, but in a sense of like the story with Job, right? That was a really important story, right, to me. So, like, if he has unconditional love, do you have to worship him to get that love? It's just a question. I'm not offending anybody.
I don't think it's offensive. Wait, ask it. What you say?
So, if it's unconditional, do you have to worship him?
I would say for Christians, people who are like following him and devoted for him. Now, they're like when you look at the story of Job, because that's a complex story. Like people would say maybe I don't know what arguments they would use like for Job. Let me think. But basically, if God loved Job, why did he allow so much evil to befall him or something like that? But there's scripture that says it rains on the just and the unjust. So life, basically, like, from my understanding, like, life happens, like, bad things can happen. Like, what's that phrase? Bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. That's life. Like, that happens. And, like, God allowed that to happen to him. But you have to also look at, I think people as humans, because there's a lot I want to say, but I don't know if we can like get all into it right now. Mm-hmm. But I think we also, as humans, we hyperfixate on the negative a lot. But if you look at Job's life before even that stuff happened to him, and like look what happened after. Like he had his sons and daughters restored, his animals restored. But even like before the what do you want to call it, like tragedy struck, he had all these blessings. He had all this property, all this money, all these sons and daughters, all these things. Hey, what was your question?
You're good. You're good. If God's love is unconditional, do you have to worship him to get that love?
I feel like I answered it. What was the first thing I said?
Well, you was talking about the story of Joe, and then how Joe himself was. If God was all being, I don't think you said this like exactly, I'm paraphrasing. So if God is all being and he is able to like do stuff for good, then why did all these bad things happen to Job?
Well, okay, I thought you were going to go into a bigger question, like if God is good, why there's so much bad on earth?
Well, I mean, to answer that question, it's just more within his will. You know,
well, you can say, but what I really say is like, why are we blaming God for decisions that we make? Like, are we gonna blame God for somebody went to go shoot somebody? Are we gonna blame God for like certain things that's like, why are you blaming him when these people use their free will to go out and make these certain decisions? So like,
right,
there's some culpability there on our part.
Right. But what I'm saying is that like, do you have to get worship for God?
I think for let me get back to that. So, those Christians, those who are like following Christ, there's a different type of love God has for Christians and people who are worshiping Him, as opposed to people who are not practicing the faith or in the faith. Like, there's two different, like, God, there is love, but it's a different kind for His people. So.
Why is that
answers your question? Because you have to look at, these people are rejecting God, these people are not. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So there's a certain way that God is gonna, how do I say, there's a different love that they're gonna receive. If someone's rejecting you, like, not saying you can't love them, but there's a different kind of love.
You love them from far away, in a sense. Is that what you're saying?
Like you have love for them?
Like I got love for you, but
there's a general love, and then for the saved, there's a special love for them. It's two different. You have the people who are rejecting and the people who are accepting. So there's two different kinds of, like, it's two different loves. So right. That is correct for me to say.
Right.
I'm trying to think through this, so I don't say anything that's incorrect.
Right.
Like, biblically. So, yeah.
I mean, my overall point is that, like, as I'm looking to it a little bit more, every love that you get it's somewhat of a condition, right? And those conditions doesn't only mean out of preferences, but it's also the things that they have within their mindset, right? So, for example, like, as I was saying, like, as for, you're going to have that love because that is your child, right? Regardless, I mean, it's unconditional, but the condition is that they're your child. As for your girlfriend, right, you may mess with her a lot more because, she got whatever. A lot of times we get into relationships with people just because they have something that we're all trying to get anyways. That's to condition.
So are we really talking about love? What are we talking about there? Because that don't sound like love.
What does it sound like?
I think we have to define love first.
Right.
But it just sounds like a transaction, like, or it sounds like you're using somebody for something. You have something I want, so I'm going to use you to get this.
Not really. I mean, your mother's not using their son.
I'm thinking we talking about relationships.
No, I'm just saying in general. I'm just saying
So wait, what's your base question?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that, like, is love really because you said, is love really unconditional? I said no.
Okay, so we just went from the faith standpoint, Christian standpoint, religion standpoint. Now I feel like we're going back to like human interaction.
I'm just saying in general. Like,
so that's what I'm talking about. So like in general, like human interaction.
Right.
I don't think naturally that we just have unconditional love for each other. No.
Okay.
I don't think there's any like basis of like you can say that we have unconditional love for each other as a human race, or just in our relationships because there's so much condition for someone to love you or treat you a certain type of way or do certain things for you. Like we're so conditional. Like Kendall does this, I'm gonna do that, or that's more like sound like more like cause and effect. But I feel like you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Right. So yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. Okay. You got any other things, man? You got any?
Do I got other things?
I like this conversation.
right.
I like thinking through. I like thinking through stuff.
I guess this would be another thing. So our last interview, that was maybe like 2-3 years ago, give or take. Do you think like some of the things that you said in that interview, you kind of like had a change of mind to, or you kind of stand on everything? I said a lot of stuff, but there was one video that you were saying how being, I might have to like look back into this, but you were saying how being a man and a Christian man are two different things.
I feel like there's a different purpose. There's a different, how do I say this? There's a different purpose behind a Christian man as opposed to like a worldly man.
And what
makes sense.
Yeah, what is a man? What is a man to you? And I'm not talking about like
that's a crazy question.
No, I'm not talking about. I'm just saying.
Toeing the line.
No. I'm not trying to trap you. I'm not trying to trap you. But like, I'm just saying, like, what is it to you? Like, what is being a man to you?
I think it's someone. I don't like that question though. Like, to you, like it's just okay. Let's just go with the question. I think it's someone who is willing to. Okay, and what are we talking about? A specific role, like
no,
a husband or just a man in
just
general?
A man in general.
I think it's someone who leads. It's someone who's kind. Jordan Peterson has something great that he said. Like a man is capable of what did he say? Let me talk to the mic.
He said, "Let me talk to him." Let me talk to him.
Let me real quick.
A man is. He didn't say violence per se. Dangerous. He's capable of being dangerous. But he doesn't act on that. Like he has that capability, but he's still like loving and kind. And I would say he serves others, serves his community. He protects his family. He's a leader of his family. He has a direction and that he's going. So that's what I think are some like good qualities.
So we shouldn't enact on our desires.
What do you mean?
Like, there's obviously the 7 deadly sins, and we
don't live by the law anymore, though. I mean, that's a whole conversation, but yeah. What are you saying?
The 7 deadly sins. Like, obviously, most people have like that urge and feeling sometimes. Gluttony. We always want to eat a little bit more because that food is just really good. Lust. There's that pretty girl over there that we want to, do things with. And then, obviously, there's pride, envy, blah blah blah. And so, are you saying that like men, like for a man to be, like
be
good,
all he can be?
Yeah, be the best he can be is like to not enact on those desires.
Yeah, there has to be some sort of like discipline. Like everything is.
Couldn't that just be anybody though?
Everything is permissible, but not everything is like constructive. Or you have the ability to do anything, but that doesn't mean everything is constructive. So you can give in to certain things, you can make certain decisions, but are those constructive, or like are they helping you build into being a better person? Specifically as a man, like I would say as a man, you need to learn how to control your lust. Like you either kill lust or lust will kill you. If you, because I mean, people might say that sleeping around ain't got no, there aren't any drawbacks. But as a man, how can you be focused on your purpose in life when you just looking at women all the time? Or like some of the greatest people in history, men specifically, have fallen and lost their rank and lost respect and put dirt on their reputation because they did something with a woman they shouldn't have been doing. Like, I think especially for men, you gotta learn how to control your urges and really like kill your lust, because it can be your downfall. Right, so I think that's specific. Not that women don't need to do that too, but I think men specifically, because it destroys us much more, and I think it impacts us much more than our counterpart. So that's how I would look at it.
That's dope.
I think being a man is being reliable. I mean, that could be the same thing as you're saying, as what you just said with Jordan Peterson. I just think that just being relied on and depended on is definitely like really important. Because like I feel like just doing things and just living life sometimes is just it's always good to be dependent on when your family needs something and things like that, you're able to do it. Like I was telling you, I was getting my own apartment, and my mom was like, "Are you excited?" I was like, "No." I mean, I am, but not really. I feel like that's something I have to do. It's more of a thing to where I want to be able, just in case if my brother does whatever, my sister or my little sister may need a place to stay or whatever like that, just being reliable in that case is really important. Or if one of my friends was coming along, in that sense, just having a place to where someone could sleep their head in is guaranteed. The fact of it being that way, I think that's what makes it really good as well.
I think that would kind of bleeds into my answer too.
Exactly.
Like, for me, being a man, and I feel like this could apply to anybody, a man or woman, but I think for a man, there's like this silent disclosure that we all kind of understand, just handling your business. Like, I think that for guys, we know that there's some form of burner performance that has to be done in order for us to be successful.
I think you should, like, one thing about the red pill movement, there's a lot of nonsense that comes out of it, but the good that does come out of it is like telling men that you need to become the best version of yourself, and take care of your business, be responsible, go work, go to the gym, stuff like that. Those are things that will enhance your life. So I do agree with those things. I think men should be doing those things because I feel like not just for themselves, but it makes like society better. When you're focused on what you need to be focused on, and you're serving others and like all the qualities and aspects I said, it just makes for a better like community, a better environment, and essentially like, or ultimately like a better world.
I definitely agree with that. And do you guys have any other final things to say, or?
It's gonna be a long time to edit.
Yeah. Facts. I don't know how long we filmed for. It was like an hour.
Almost an hour.
Yeah.
What time is it?
I mean, it's 8:47.
Okay.
Yeah, but the timer is like what,
50 something.
Yeah, golly. Well,
facts, man.
I'll be up here again maybe in a few months or years, and we'll see what's different with me.
Facts.
Yeah.
I already know.
All right, man.
Want to roll out the carpet for anything?
I don't remember what I said I was doing. I was in college last time I was up here, so I was taking classes, I was working and stuff. Right now, I work at a photography studio. I do a lot of contract jobs for different companies. I was working for this company called Hoop Brothers. I would just go out and like film basketball tournaments and stuff. I'm going out of state in 2 weeks to go do a hotel shoot. So like there's a new hotel that's opening up, and I'm gonna go photograph the new rooms that they have. I went to Philadelphia in November to go photograph a journalistic conference for work. I've just been working a lot. I've been growing my photography business. I got a sole proprietorship, 613 Cinema. Y'all see the chain.
Relax.
So, yeah.
Shameless plug.
And it's like, I'm not saying all this stuff to be like, oh yeah, look at me, but it's just in a few years. Because it's been 2 years or 3 years?
It's been like 2 years from change.
I would say 3.
About 3 years. But it's just been a lot of like change in such a short time. 3 years is not that long. Mm-hmm. We just graduated. I think all of us at this table are doing a lot of like great things at a young age. So I just think we need to just stay the course, and we'll see where we are in the next few years or whenever we get back together on camera. I'll probably hang out with y'all before then.
Facts.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to QFM. Appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram and also subscribe to us to our YouTube. Thank you so much, guys.
We out here.
Bet. We out.